everyone. Welcome back to Stampin' in My PJs with Pam Jorgensen. I'm an independent demonstrator here in Australia, and I love to create cards that pop and cards that do something fun. So I'm bringing you today another little tutorial for a pop-up card. Now this one was called a pop-up card front when I first discovered it. And what it does is it pops up. See that? How cute is that? And then on the back is your sections for writing your messages or just decorating it. But it stands up like a little easel. How cool! Okay, so now this one has lots of measurements. So I will be putting these out on my blog, and I will also be doing a written tutorial that you'll be able to download and keep for your future crafting. So hang with me till the end, and I have some fun examples to share with you. So hold on. Let's start looking at what you will need to make this fun pop-up card. Okay, so the first thing that you are going to need is one piece of cardstock. Now I have used Mossy Meadow today. This is 4 1/8 of an inch by 8 1/4, and I've scored it here at 5 1/2 and 7 1/2 inches. So I've already pre-scored that. Now you will need 2 pieces of 4 1/8 by 6 1/4 inches. Now this is the same color as your base card. You can see here that I've scored one of them at 2 1/16, and that basically just folds that long strip in half. Now I do want to preface this by saying that this particular size, the one that I saw out on Pinterest, was actually the half of a large envelope, and I wanted to have like a size that we could use with our envelope. So this will fit into an Australia one of our envelopes that Stampin' Up has designed for us for the Australia market. Okay. Now you will need some base layers. Now I have cut a few random ones today, and it will make sense when we start putting it together. So I have gone with a coordinating cardstock here, Early Espresso. That is 1 7/8 by 6 inches. Then to layer, you are either going to be layering on a white or a very vanilla piece, or you may also be choosing to layer on some of the Designer Series paper. And so this layer itself is 1 5/8 of an inch by 5 3/4. Okay, so I have cut 4 of my Early Espressos, and I have cut 4 of the Designer Series paper and 2 of the white, because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to decorate this yet, so I just wanted to come prepared. All right, more layers. Yes, more layers. So for this one, you can see we actually have 3 layers here. We have the base cardstock layer, we have a smaller Early Espresso, and then I have a little small piece of Designer Series paper. So our layers here, your biggest layer is 1 1/2 inches by 4 1/8. That middle Early Espresso layer is 1 1/4 by 3 7/8. And our Designer Series paper is 1 times 3 5/8. Okay, so really, and those can be tweaked to however you want them to be. Now I also have another layer, so this time I'm using Early Espresso, which is 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. My Designer Series paper is 1 1/2 by 3 5/8. So lots of little layers here, and you would be able to tweak these as you designed your own card to perhaps not use as many layers if you so decided. Okay, this little piece is 1 inch by 3 inches, and you can see that I have scored that at 1/2 of an inch and 2 1/2 inches, and then that gives me like a little U shape. Okay. I know this is like a massive amount of layers, but it will be awesome when you get done. I promise. All right, here we go. So this one I've done Early Espresso layer in 3 7/8 by 5. My Designer Series paper is 1 1/2 inches. No, that can't be right. That must be a different. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Oh, where's my sticker? Okay, so this one is This is 3 7/8 by 5 inches. So this one must be 3 5/8 by 4 3/4 of an inch to fit. So I'm just making a mat. Somehow I've gotten my little my little directions all confused. I don't know what happened. All right, last but not least, we have this one. And this one is 2 3/4 of an inch by 5 3/4 of an inch. And you can see that I've scored that at 1/4, so just a baby little fold. 1 1/4. Okay, so we have a 1-inch section. And then at 4 3/4. So there's the measurements for that one. Okay. Now, to go with that, I have a piece of white, or I've also brought out a piece of vanilla because I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. And that is 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/4 inches. And you will see that that fits right in that scored section. It's basically just a matte layer. Okay. The other thing that I've done is I've taken a little piece of designer series paper. Now this is 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/2 inches, and it just fits down in that little rectangle, and that's an optional piece depending on whether or not you want to use that. So let me show you what we're actually using today. Now I have decided to focus on this amazing suite called World of Good. This suite, if you haven't seen it yet in person, is perfect for mail cards. It's perfect for sympathy cards. It's perfect for, you could even turn this into back to school teachers cards. It's a great stamp set. The suite has this beautiful world stamp set with lots of really nice sentiments. I love this one. You make the world a better place. And so let me show you what it looks like in real life. Let me throw my book down there. So that's the actual stamp set. 13 stamps in there, so really fun. And I love the little quill and the little ink pot there. Now I will probably also be bringing in monogram messages because I would like to say or put on the word celebrate today. So this is the stamp set I'm focusing on. However, I'm going to bring in that other little image. Here are the World of Good die, or World of Map dies, and you can see that there's two different worlds. So here's North America, and here's where we are in Australia, and just the different little pieces that go with that. Now, this particular piece, I've highlighted it slightly in gray, so you can see that it actually just makes the image go down into your cardstock. So I've cut these out so you can see what it looks like. And the same with this one. This is how it cuts, is those little lines. And you could actually thread some ribbon through there. That would be really fun. So that's what the dies look like. Lots of fun. And then I have gone ahead and added in the World of Good Specialty Designer Series paper. So look at all the different colors. And I love the fact that the brass foil paper is just amazing, and it just, you can see that it's focused. They have it down in some of these papers. So this is your specialty paper, just beautiful. And these are all the different colors that it corresponds with. So that's how I chose my colors for the day. Okay, so let's get to stamping. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take out the long 4 1/8 by 8 1/4 piece. And I also have the two pieces that were 4 1/8 by 6 1/4. And you can see that I've labeled this one back just so I keep track of that. I'm going to go ahead and grab my bone folder. And I'm going to fold on these two score lines and just burnish that with my bone folder just like this. Okay? Set that aside. And now I'm going to take this little 1/2 one. I don't know if I haven't scored it straight or what's the deal here. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Let me get that lined up. All right, there we go. And I'll just burnish that with my bone folder. Now I'm going to actually glue this down to start getting that ready. So I recommend that you do use liquid glue. And so this is the piece that matched it in size. And I am going to take my liquid glue and just tack that down on one half of the panel. Okay, just like this. And it doesn't really matter which side it goes on, other than the fact that you do want to get that lined up nice and even, and by using the liquid glue you will then be able to maneuver your paper so that it's all even. And I just have that as back, so I know that I want to glue that. Okay, so you have something that looks like a little T right now. And what we want to do is we want to glue that onto the back of our scored piece. So right now you have a scored piece that looks like that, almost like a little chair. And we are going to glue this onto the back of that panel. Now, what's important is that when we glue this T piece on, you want to place your liquid glue up in this upper section because part of that T piece is going to hang over. So let me put some glue on just so that it starts to get tacky a little bit. I'm careful to not get too much because I do not want that to squish out, and that's typically very common for me, is to have glue squishing out all over. So that's a trick of the trade, is to let your glue sit for a second. So now you can see, if I lay this down, and I'm going to show you where my score line is. There's my score line, okay? And you can see that this T-shaped piece is going to be hanging off about 3/4 to an inch off the bottom of that. So as I lay this down, I am just going, so I have the little flat piece up, and I'm just going to line that up once again with the back of that card. Give that a little bit, whoops, see, there's a little bit of oozing glue. That's not what we want. Okay, perfect. So you can see that here is my L shape, or not L, my T shape, okay? Here was my little chair shape, and here's the little chunk that was hanging out over the top. So I'm just gonna mush that down so that it adheres nice and tight. All right, so that's the basis of our project. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. So because remember I said I like to let my parts and pieces set up for just a second, I am going to grab that little, now this is your little 1 inch by 3 inch section. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be gluing this on the inside. So if I grab back the black one, and I have glued in a gray one so you can see what I've done, is that we are going to put some glue here, and we are going to line it up against the bottom of our card and push that down. Okay, so let's do that first. So I'm going to use a little bit of glue. Once again, not going too heavy so that it squishes out everywhere. And lining it up with the bottom of the card. So here's that little L, this little seat shape. And I am going to line that up with the bottom of my card. Okay, so you can see where here's the L-shaped, the chair-shaped bit. There's where I've glued on that little tab. Okay, so you can see that one right here on the gray one. Now what we're going to do is we have this little 1/2 inch space still sticking up. So in that 1/2 inch scored rectangle, I am going to be placing a little bit more glue. Okay, now technically you should be able to just lay that down and close down this little scored flap. Okay, so if I close that down, it should line up perfectly with that score mark that I have on that little 1 inch tab. Okay, so I'm going to hold that down, and I will give that a little bit of a push. All right, so you can see that I have now attached that, and now I have this little I call it a little locking mechanism. It just keeps your card from falling apart. Okay, see that? It's a little bit hard because it's green and I'm in a little bit of a shadow now, but that will help you immensely. Okay, so here we go. So that is now almost the basis of our card. Okay, so let's start decorating. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my designer series paper onto my card, onto that layer. Now you'll notice that I have actually embossed this piece with the Old World embossing folder or crinkled paper, or I can't remember what it's called, but I decided I'm not going to use that. I just want to get the brown, the early espresso. And the designer series paper, I do need to make sure that the words are going in the right direction. There we go. And I'm just going to adhere this down onto my card base. So really, even though this card has lots of layers, you will see that it comes together really, really fast once you start assembling. So I have that piece popped down in there. Okay, so there's our first. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this set of layers. Let me grab it here. Where is it? Okay, so this was your 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. And I'm going to adhere these two together just like this. So let's get that bit done. And I don't know about you, but I love cards that look like they were really hard, but they're really not, because that's my style. Whoops, I don't think I got that quite straight, but that doesn't matter. This one's not gonna show very much. And this one is going to go right down in that big middle scored section right there. And I might just flip this one this way. Maybe I should put my glasses on, then I could see, because I think that one is crooked. But he's not coming up now anyway. I might have to add a ribbon or something. Okay, so we have something that looks like that. Now the secret is, for this particular little flap, if you look at this one, you can see that I have a little flap on the front that hides that panel piece. And so let's get that one ready, and that will get rid of 3 more of our layers. So this is the little 1.5 inch layer by 4 1/8, and basically what we are going to do is we are just going to adhere all 3 of these layers together. Now if you wanted to, you could skip this step. You could make the layers bigger, you could make the layers smaller to suit whatever you wanted. The main thing you need to remember is that this Mossy Meadow back piece is 4 1/8 inches wide, and that matches the same width of your card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this down flat. I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive. You could use your liquid glue here if you wanted. You just want to make sure you don't go above that scored mark. Now typically what happens when we add adhesive is we always want to put our card like that, but that is wrong. So this time we are going to line up the end of our card with the end of our card base, and that will cause that flap to pop up. Now if we do what we're told to do all the time, is put your adhesive on the back of our layer that we're going to adhere down, it would actually stick in the wrong spot on your card. So we're going to line that up at the bottom, nice and simple, and then you can see what happens is that pops up and gives that little bit of edge to the front of your project. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip it over. Oh, I'm so annoyed that that's crooked. I might have to. Oh, look it. Oh, I'm so lucky. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, this time I might just use a little bit of glue. Then I can maneuver that around. I'm so lucky I could get that off, and that I didn't use the Stampin' Seal Plus. Oh my gosh, because then it doesn't come off. All right, let's put that back down. Let's see, the writing goes that way. Oh, how fortunate, because that was really starting to annoy me. There we go. Oh, saved by the bell. All right, so let's flip our project over, and I am going to grab in our different layers. Now I know I'm going to be using all of the brown layers. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this time I am going to use the liquid glue so I have a little bit of wiggle room, is I'm going to put these layers down. All right. So I'm going to adhere one down on the left side of that fold. So here's that little pop-up easel piece. You wouldn't have to decorate that little middle part, but I just think it helps finish your project. If you had a card that you wanted to give, like let's say somebody was like a going away party, that would be perfect because it would give you 4 places for people to write their sentiments. Okay, so here we go. So I have the second one there. I'm going to open, I call this a little book. I'm going to open the book. I'm just going to fold that over and we're going to add in these other 2. I so love cards that look hard, but aren't. That's my mantra. And this one certainly fits that bill. Okay. Now I'm going to do a little bit of stamping, I think. And here in Australia, it is Father's Day on Sunday in September, so I will be turning this one into a Father's Day card for my husband to give his dad. Okay, so let's do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to go back to my Beautiful World stamp set, and I think I might just I might grab actually one of these worlds. I don't care which one, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to stick that on here. I just want to stamp some worlds down on this designer series paper that I'm going to use. So I have brought with me today Early Espresso. And I think I'm just going to stamp. Oh yeah, I like that. Even though that's got a little bit of that image on the back, I'm still going to stamp. I think I'm only going to use, I'm not sure. I might stamp all 3 just because I'm not sure if I want to use 2 or 3. Okay. And while I have that, I might just add, make sure the world's going the right way. I might just add a little world on here. Ooh, where am I going to go? We're going to go down there. Oh, and now I have a mark, so I'm going to flip that over. What is happening today? There we go. Let's just do that. All right, so let's close that up for a minute. Let this dry for a second because I've been messing around. Let's come back to this. And once again, I am going to use the liquid glue just so that I can maneuver that down onto that panel. Now I am going to use these in the middle. So this is on the little book part. There we go. That's why we like to have glue. So see, I'm going to put that one there. And I am going to put this one on the other middle bit. Like that. So there's our little book. Now I need to decide. I might put my sentiment there. So I could either have another white one here, which I don't like, so I'm going to go ahead and use another piece of designer series paper in there. Just like that. See how easy that is? Beautiful. There we go. So because I don't yet have my sentiment on here, I'm not going to adhere that one down right now. So just hang tight with me. All right, let's go back to that pop-up section in the front. So on the black and white one and the gray one, you can see that here's your pop-up section. So let me show you what I did on this one, and then I'm going to show you a couple of finished projects. Now, I'm trying to decide. I think we're going to use vanilla on the front. So I probably should change that panel on the back and use vanilla as well, just to make it look decent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to adhere this little tiny piece of Designer Series paper right there on the top. Now I chose not to mat this, but you certainly could. That wouldn't be a problem. It just was getting really small and I didn't want to have to worry about trying to get all the mats just right. I am going to go ahead and burnish that with my bone folder again because I think I did not do that last time. And while I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece down into that middle section so it's all ready to go. Now this once again is using that embossing folder. And isn't that just beautiful? I just love that paper look. That is so fun. All right, so let's get all that down in there. And while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and stamp. So let's grab, so I'm going to use You Make the World a Better Place. Once again, I'm going to come out with that, and I think I forgot my cardstock. So hold tight, I will be right back. All right, so let's do some stamping. So I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock and my early espresso ink. And I am just going to stamp a sentiment. And perfect. And while I'm there, I'm going to grab, now this says celebrate, and I'm going to stamp celebrate in early espresso as well. All right, so now let's put that away just so I don't ink myself. Okay, so I'm going to grab my everyday label punch and put that in there and just punch out those words. And I did grab the classic label punch and I am going to punch out celebrate. There we go. Let's get all these little bits done and dusted and out of the way. So here's our bits and pieces. So let's decorate this piece. So before we got together today, I went ahead and die cut out the stand. I used some of the brass foil paper for the globe, and then I just used the circle die to cut out a piece of the Designer Series paper. So you can see I've just used a piece of the blue. And I am going to use some mini dimensionals to pop this up. So I'm going to put a little mini dimensional in there. And whoops, and a mini dimensional there. And let's see if I can get a mini one to fit down in that bottom. Oh, perfect. It's going to fit perfectly, I think. I just don't want it to show on the other side. Okay, let's have a look. Awesome. Okay, so I am just going to adhere that down onto that blue. Beautiful. Alrighty, so the other thing that I chose to do was I grabbed just 2 3/4 inch pieces of Designer Series scraps that I had. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these over. Now let's have a look. Colors on that side. Ooh, I like that side. I like that side too. All right, let's have a look. How am I going to put these on? So here's my little world. I like this world. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to first put down my Designer Series paper. I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive across the middle because I am going to cut this, I think. I'm just going to, let's see, where do I want that one to go? Ooh, decisions. I don't want it to be straight though. Okay. Yep. All right, so let's grab the scissors. I am going to make sure I don't have any. don't have any glue hanging off. And I might just cut those just like that. Okay? And we'll do the same over here. Oh, I might just cut this straight. Let's cut this side straight. There we go. And just in case you hear my son in the background, it is a school day and we are homeschooling because of COVID, so we are home. Okay, so let's look at where we want this to go. So I am going to put that down there. And just a couple little drops. And let's pop. All right. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom, only on the bottom of this to hold this globe. Just like that. Cool. Love it. Love it. Now, if you didn't like, whoops. If you don't like that brown bit across the front, that's okay. You could tuck that underneath. Now, there's our stamped out words. Let's put this on. I'm going to use dimensionals again. Peel that off. Perfect. Okay, so let's put that into our project. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some glue down here at the bottom. So this is that little 1-inch scored section on our project. And what we're going to be able to do is we are going to be able to set this. So here's my scored line. Here's the little bit that lifts up. There's my scored line right there. I am going to lay this and center that in the middle of my project. So you can see I'm centering it from the right and the left sides. And I am just going to lift this up. Now when I lift it up, I'm going to make sure that this flap is straight up. And I'm just going to shut that down right down onto my project. And what that will do then is it attaches it. See how it's attached now? Nice and straight. And it's attached right close to that scored mark. Easy peasy. See that? Okay, so now let's go up to this little 1/4 inch mark. Now this one's a little bit trickier because you don't want to get glue everywhere. All right. Now this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that entire section down so you can see that there's the 1-inch flap, there's the 1/4 inch flap with the glue, and I'm going to hold that down flat, just like that. By holding it down, I'm going to have to lay it down for a second. By holding it down flat, then I'm going to be able to lift up this whole section. Now you have to make sure this whole entire chunk comes up, and you can lay it down, give that a push, just like that. And what happens is then that little tiny 1/4 inch is glued in just the right spot. Now mine just released because I pulled on it, so let me do that again. Okay, now if you don't push that whole bottom chunk up when you glue that little 1/4 inch strip down, then what happens is it gets glued in the wrong spot and your card will not fold. Okay, so that's how easy that piece is. Now, as I'm looking at my project, I see this hanging off the side and I know I'm going to have to cut that just a little bit shorter so that it fits in the envelope, because it will not fit if it hangs over. But that's okay. We can just trim it. It's not a big deal. Perfect. Now to finish it off, I am just going to put Celebrate on the front. And I might put a little bit of brown behind that. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll just leave it. Okay, I am going to pop that up though. And I'm just going to add a couple embellishments. Celebrate. Ooh, love that. And I'll add a couple of the champagne rhinestones because we can and they're fun. So where are we going to put those? Where are we going to put them? Let me put a couple here. Just helps finish off this pretty card. I might even put one up there. We will add, let's see, maybe I'll grab a big one. This is what happens when I don't have my pick tool with. You get used to one tool and then you don't have it and you're, okay, here we go. Let's try it again. I might put it down here on the designer series paper. And there we go. And if I'm going to do those, I might as well, oh my gosh, we're having issues today. Do a couple up there. Oh, that's a big. Let's go back to that one. That's a big one too. Where is one popped? There he is. Oh my gosh. There we go. Oh, we might even need one up here. Perfect. Okay. So there is our pop-up card that will sit like that. And then at some point I will finish this back section. But in the meantime, let's show you a couple more. I hope you have loved that pop-up because it was lots of fun. So here's another one that I did that says hello. So you can see on here I've even added ribbon and that works just fine. On the back I've added the 3 panels of green and I haven't added my white yet on that one. Let me grab a couple more to share with you. You can see on this one, May Your Seasons Sparkle, which is beautiful in the blues and then on the back I just have used, whoops, my wire's hanging down, apologize. Just real simple. Okay, really, really simple. You can make these as fancy or as simple as you like. So I hope that you have liked these projects and all the measurements will be on my blog along with a downloadable tutorial. So thanks for joining Stamping in My PJs one more time and I hope to see you the next time I do a crafty video. Have a great day.